CCRP Silver Club is sponsored by Sagicor, Digicel, NCB, Manpower and Maintenance Services Limited Group, and JNGI. Older people are important members of any society and therefore have the right to live in dignity in later life. Welcome to the CCRP Silver Club series, a program which seeks to educate, entertain, and improve the lives of people 50 and over. I'm Dervan Malcolm. This week on CCRP Silver Club.
When the older person says, I'd like to go for vaccine, they tell them no.
Medications need to be taken in a certain way.
It was a very proud moment to see the bank moving from an overseas entity to our local Jamaican bank.
Laughter is not just a sound, it's a feeling.
The COVID-19 pandemic is like nothing any of us had ever seen before. And with a lot of misinformation going around, it has caused some of our seniors to become hesitant where vaccines and protocols are concerned. Let's hear how you can continue to stay safe. Professor Denise Eldemar Shearer is Jamaica's expert on aging, and she heads the Mona Aging and Wellness Center.
The Aging Center was established 25 years ago when we became a WHO collaborating center, doing mainly cross-country research. WHO at the time had a focus on developing countries, and we were part of the multi-country studies that were done on rapid aging in developing countries. We recognized that Jamaica was aging, and then university started to pay attention to the fact that the demographics were aging and started to support the Aging Center. 2 years ago, it became integrated into the university. We're a unique center in the university in that because we have an NGO attached to us, and always did, we are not simply a research center, but outreach is very much an important part of our activity. But that's how we became a vaccination center. We offered a car service. We had to put the rails in the passageway, for example. Those were not there 2 years ago. We think of older people who can't cope with steps, but even a slope, if you are unsteady on your feet, etc., can lead to a fall. For somebody with heart disease, for somebody with lung disease, with shortness of breath, our vaccinators would go to the car. People in wheelchairs, children with autism, ADH, don't like crowds, so we would do them in the car as well. And of course, the messaging, because older people don't hear well, some. Older people don't read the fine print easily, so we would have to target the messaging, sometimes one-on-one. I think we've done fairly well. If you look at the death rates, as high as they are, among our older people in that they represent a significant proportion of the deaths, they're still low. If you think about the fact that when we started seeing the nightmares on television, it was at nursing homes, that sort of thing. When you look at our statistics of the deaths in, say, for example, the infirmaries, they're very low. The other thing too is that older people, by virtue of being the targets of being a vulnerable group, were protected early. And they took it very seriously. I'm sure you know older people that have not come out of their house for 2 years. And it's very interesting. We actually did a survey in the August because I figured older people would resent having to stay home. No. They said, somebody finally cares about us. Somebody is paying us attention. The only group, and there was a group, let us be honest, you do have a lot of self-employed older people between 60 and 75. A lot of caregivers are in that age group, and they had some difficulty. So we had about 12% that said they were sticking to the orders, but they were very difficult to stick to. I also think that it brought families closer. I mean, I was stopped one day and as somebody said to me, now I appreciate my grandmother more because they became the connection to the world, the social connectivity that we spoke about. And she said she had never spoken as much to her grandmother as she had in the past 6 months because now she phones her every day. A lot of doctor's appointments were now online. Even in the health centers, you could only speak to the doctor via social media or telephone, video calls, Zoom. They've learned all these things.
So, what causes the hesitancy among seniors?
You have to remember that today's older people are not part of that journey when immunizations became the norm, because they're born in the 30s and the 40s. So they don't know what an immunization card is. Plus, we're also calling it vaccines. They're not part of that culture. I also think, and I've experienced this in my own practice, they very much listen to their younger generation. And we do have a lot of the younger generation that are hesitant. And then so when the older person says, I'd like to go for vaccine, they tell them no. We have had people come here who have told us that nobody knows they're here, that they've told them they're going X, but they've gone to Y. I remember one lady saying to me, make sure nothing will happen to me because I have to go home. We didn't know a lot in the beginning. And our messages did change as they had to change. So I think also misinformation played a big role. COVID-19 has some very special features about it. It is worse in people who have a comorbidity, especially the comorbidities that affect blood vessels and affect the chest. And also you find that diabetics, persons with renal disease, even if not 60, because of blood vessels, again, there's damage to the kidneys, there's damage elsewhere. So COVID aggravates all of that. Last study that I saw that analyzed the deaths, 70% of the deaths, the older people with a comorbidity. Most of the older people who, as we know, have been on lockdown and have been staying at home and still not coming out very much, they're getting COVID from either the family member or a caregiver who is also younger. So I think younger people need to also recognize that they have a responsibility to other family members and to think about it. Yes, you're going out to party, you're going out to these activities, and we understand that. That's part of youth. But you also then have to remember the mask, the social distancing. Those things seem to have gone, and they shouldn't have gone because we are still seeing COVID.
So, how can we get more seniors vaccinated?
I think we just have to stick with the programs. I think we have to stick with the educational programs. We have to target seniors. When we started, the vaccine prevents you from getting an illness. And then we changed and we said that the vaccine prevents you from getting sick if you get the illness. That caused a lot more hesitancy. So what's the point in taking the vaccine if I'm still going to get it? And we had to get the message out because you won't end up in ICU if you get it. The disease will be not half as serious, so you won't get the oxygen lack, etc. We had to do some real convincing of the population. But you've now changed. A year into this, you've now said, well, you're going to have a booster. Remember, there was one vaccine, was one and done. Now they have to have a vaccine. We can't tell you yet if you're going to have another vaccine, and we need to be upfront with it. At the moment, the Mona Aging and Wellness Centre is giving the fourth booster for those who qualify, over 60, healthcare workers, immunosuppressed and diabetics. Take advantage of it. Flu season is coming up. If you get COVID and you are vaccinated, it mimics flu now. Therefore, it's important to get that vaccine and to get your fourth booster if you qualify.
Next, we explore the relationship between you and your pharmacist.
The CCRP Silver Club will be right back.
This segment is brought to you by Quartz.
Your pharmacist is a great source of knowledge and support. Developing a relationship with your pharmacist and using one pharmacy can ensure consistency in care. Take a look. Hermin Metcalf is a pharmacist who's passionate about caring for her elderly clients.
A pharmacist is very, very important to seniors because seniors need guidance. Well, everybody needs guidance, but seniors, especially the older seniors, need someone who will guide them, inform them about dosing and the importance of taking medications regularly and keeping them updated about what they're taking and what they shouldn't be taking along with the medication that is prescribed. Medications need to be taken in a certain way. They act in a certain way, and if they're not taken as directed and as they should be taken, you will not get the results that you want. For instance, you have tablets that are supposed to be taken 3 times a day. You might have people who feel that they can't bother, they don't think that it is necessary, and if 3 times a day works, once a day will be fine. And you have to take all the medication you are prescribed. For instance, you're taking an antibiotic. Very often, after day 3, you feel much better, feel okay, and then you feel like you can't bother. People have high blood pressure, and as soon as they start feeling better, they just don't want to bother. And that is one of the reasons you really have to build a relationship. And we recommend that if at all possible, try to keep the same pharmacist. They know you, they know your background, they know what you have been taking. And if, for instance, you are going to a doctor and you changed, and the other doctor gives you a different set of medication, they know what you are on, and they can now guide and they can speak with the doctor because you have possible duplication or drug interaction. Sometimes people forget. Well, it happens to everybody, not only seniors. So it is very useful to have like a tablet organizer. You put the tablets that you have to take in compartments daily, and then you have some that are divided into morning, noon, and night. So you put them in there, and if you didn't take it, you would know because the tablet would be there. If you took it, it would be missing, so you know. So it's useful, and it makes it very easy. You fill it out for the week, and every day at the time that you should take it, you take. Because you might forget the midday dose, and then you look and see it's missing. But one thing I must tell you, if you miss a dose, depending on what it is, and that's why you should really get guidance from your pharmacist. You miss the dose, and you're not sure if you should take twice the amount the next time. And that is where you need guidance. Very often you shouldn't. You miss the dose, just take it. But get guidance. You can ask your pharmacist or the caregivers. They are crucial. When they go to the doctor with the patient, they need to listen carefully and to understand from the doctor. Ask questions what each medication is for. When you go to the pharmacy, the pharmacist will explain if the person has some kind of dementia or they have some illness, they will be very resistant. I mean, I have visited somebody who the caregiver was giving him his medication and he would not take it from her. He turns to me and he said, "I'll take it from you, but not from her." So the person has to be very patient. The patient has to trust them. As you get older, you have different ailments developing, and you have these hypertension, diabetes, asthma. Some people have in their old age, they have cancer. All sorts of things happen. You find that older people, seniors, take more medications. Try to understand your medication. Try to know which medication you're taking for what ailment. Be consistent with taking it. Take it at the right time. If you forget, take it as soon as you remember. Make sure that you preferably take it with water because you don't have to worry about interaction with any product. And the caregivers too need to make sure that they know and understand the medication. Make a list of all the medications that you're taking. So when you go to the doctor, or if you change the doctor, and remember, many older people have more than one doctor. They go to one for the arthritis and one for the high blood pressure and another. So they have different doctors. So it's useful to have a list. And it might be useful sometimes to take the medication itself along with you. With the patient, they need to tell the doctor and the pharmacist of any side effects they might have.
Up next, Paulette Daly-Henry shares her experience at NCB, and laughter is the best medicine. This segment is brought to you by the National Health Fund. National Commercial Bank is celebrating 185 years in 2022, and retired employee Paulette Daly-Henry reminisces on its transformation throughout the years.
I was a part of the transitioning of the bank. The bank transitioned from Barclays Bank to National Commercial Bank of Jamaica Limited. It was a very proud moment, you know, to be working and to see the bank moving from an overseas entity to our local Jamaican bank. When the bank first formed and the Lovebird keycard came on stream, right, it was awesome. We never knew that people would have gravitated towards the first credit card of this country like that. We were very, very proud because when you realize that most of our managers were expatriates and now people like us were now transitioned into running the bank, running the organization. So you had the first black ever managing director, Mr. Donald Banks, right? And after them you have the Rex James. I worked with the bank for 30 years. I've been now a pensioner for the past 25. It's different in a sense because it's now fully automated. When I started working with the bank and we transitioned, the bank became computerized. So we had these old computers that we had to learn to use. Customers were in awe when they came into the bank the Monday morning and saw these computers and wondering, why is the staff watching television? Now, with the internet, it is so much easier. This is where the customer service comes in. As a pensioner and you are not au fait with everything, you call your customer service department or you send them an email and they would walk you through the process. With the gas prices where it is so much easier to be at home and do your banking. Pensioners, once we get there between 8 and 8:30, it's good to go. You know, it's easy because they make allowances for us. The bigger branches have a senior customer service area. NCB is like a family. They have a wide range of products, especially for senior citizens, right? Where they have the Gold Club, which you can open an account with just $5,000, right? And you get a rebate on your banking services. You get a monthly interest. And I would encourage everyone, all my senior citizens, compatriots, to be a part of NCB.
Let's find out more about the benefits of laughter, even for seniors. Consultant psychiatrist Dr. Agri Irons shares why laughter is the best medicine.
Laughter is not just a sound, it's a feeling. Laughter makes the eyes sparkle. It makes you feel good inside. But usually laughter is the outward expression of a satisfied, merry soul. It's the best medicine because of how it makes you feel and what it's associated with. To bring it down to serious proportions, the human being has defense mechanisms that protect him from pain and anger and sadness and so on. And laughter is one of those best policies. Humor, which goes with laughter and precedes laughter, is perhaps one of the most adult defense mechanisms. And we in Jamaica have a way of saying, what? We take bad thing, make laugh. And kin teeth, kiba, heartburn. But if you will notice the other animals, cows moo, horses neigh, chickens cluck. Human beings converse, yes, but we're the only ones who laugh. And that is something to think about. It gets rid of the frown lines. It stretches the skin nicely, especially in people who are mixed up like us, you know, who have some elastic fiber left in our skin. It would suit us to laugh. Too many wrinkles, but that's only one part of it. Laughter, of course, releases serotonin in the brain, which is a happy chemical. And in fact, the more you can laugh, especially laugh at yourself, the more slowly that you age. less stress, less anxiety, less fear of death and dying, which is what preoccupies the elderly, you know. And a part of the problem with the elderly and their solitary existence is that when you don't have people around, you don't have anybody to laugh with, because you notice it's kind of strange when you just laugh with yourself. People think that you're going into Dr. Iron's territory, but you have to have somebody to laugh with. And while I'm talking to you and seeing you laugh, there are other features of laughter. Make you better looking. People say you mustn't laugh too loud or outrageously, but sometimes you can't control it. Lord have mercy! Yeah. That is the kind of side-splitting stuff. But then I remember always when I'm asked about laughter and comedy and so on, Louise Bennett and Ronnie Williams, those old stars, and of course Oliver and Voliere. Voliere is gone, but Oliver's still here. The people who make us laugh, we remember them, and we remember them with a smile, you know. And laughter helps us through grief and stuff like that. There hasn't been any survey that I've read that laughter makes you live longer, but I know that comedians tend to live a long time. Spend as much time with people who make you merry and make you laugh. Spend as much time as you can in situations that bring laughter to you. Spend more time with each other, because the memories, you know, are sometimes all we have. And you will remember the memories that make you laugh.
That's it for this episode of the CCRP Silver Club series, where we keep you informed and educated about matters concerning you, our seniors. See you next week. CCRP Silver Club is sponsored by Sagicor, Digicel, NCB, Manpower and Maintenance Services Limited Group, and JNGI.